So what are the wounds to unity? What are the wounds to unity? What major divisions arose at the very beginning of Christian church? Well, remember, we've talked about this multiple times. Gentile converts, do they have to be circumcised and follow the Mosaic law? Right? That's the big division that starts at the very beginning. Right in Acts of the Apostles, the very beginning, there is a question of division. But it's important that there's unity, so they resolve it really fast, right? They call together a council where all the apostles are there, and under the leadership of St. Peter, there's a response that's given that the church in its leadership says we can be united in our faith, right, so that we can all worship together, right? Very important, so we can remain as one, right? Everyone agrees that doctrine, that decree is sent out to all the different communities, right? Local churches, Corinth, Rome, etc., right? And all of these all of a sudden check it off and say that's what we're living by, right? We're staying in union together. Okay. How do we know we're in union? What are we in union with? The bishops in union with St. Peter, the Bishop of Rome, the Vicar of Christ, the Pope. Right? What happened to the unity of the church in centuries after that? Well, more serious dissensions appear about the whole nature of Jesus Christ, not just this stuff. Right? Larger communities become separated. Arius breaks off a ton of people and some other bishops with him from full communion with the Catholic Church. Okay? So there's a lot of breaks. Who's to blame for these divisions? Who's to blame for these wounds? People on both sides are to blame usually for the wounds that happen in the oneness. Right? But it's essential to keep in mind that oneness is what God calls us to. 3 types of ruptures to the union of Christ's body. Heresy, apostasy, schism. All right. The origin of all of this is that we are broken men. We are sinful, right? We choose self. We choose pride. We are not humble. We don't submit ourselves often. We don't like submitting ourselves, right? There's no way to understand all this without sin, right? For example, early Christians who founded and followed Christological heresies got some wrong philosophical or theological issue, or both, right? So there are other issues involved, but it's our pride, right, that keeps the split there. Okay, so first of all, apostasy, what is it? Apostasy, the total rejection of the faith by someone who has been baptized. This happens a lot in the early church, right, when the Christians are being persecuted. Maybe the emperor is saying, round up these Christians and make them offer incense to the emperor. In other words, make them say the emperor is God, right? And reject their own God, right? Somebody that rejects their faith, offering incense to the emperor, or so on and so forth, who has been baptized, that's an apostate. Very serious in the early church because people are dying for the faith. So they're saying, if I'm dying for my faith and you're not, you're a coward, right? That's a big deal. You're denying Christ, right? That's the idea. Heresy. Heresy is deliberate and persistent denial by one who's been baptized of a truth of the faith taught by the church, right? So, at the very beginning, right, in Acts of the Apostles, the people that after the Council of Jerusalem says people don't have to be circumcised, the people that still said that they had to be circumcised, called Judaizers, right? Then these people, right, are becoming heretic. Why? Because even though the church has proclaimed, right, and made clear what the real teaching is that should be promoted and believed all over the place in the church, right? They deny that. They deny that truth of the church, right? And so that would be heresy, very beginning still. Lastly, schism. Schism, refusal by one who has been baptized, the unity with Pope, refusal of communion with the members of the church. So that's a big deal too, right? And we see that especially the difference between the Catholic and the Orthodox Church. Right? The Orthodox splits up because they don't recognize the fullness of the Pope as the primacy of St. Peter. They say the Pope is just one among many of the great bishops in the region. All right. Lastly, can a non-Christian become a heretic or schismatic or be in a state of apostasy? No, right? If we're talking about baptized people here, baptized people, baptized, this is all unity in the faith, and then what happens to break up that unity, right? So heresy, schism, apostasy, all of these have to do with baptized members. So non-baptized members of the church, it doesn't relate to them, right? Okay.